What is up, everybody? It is Life's Apprentice. Coming at you today with another firewood video. As you guys know, if you watch a lot of my videos or the newest ones, I am starting a small firewood business. I'm standing on my property right now, and you can hear the cars going by. We're on a fairly busy county highway, so we do have quite a bit of traffic in this area. And as far as my firewood business, I'm going to be, at least for now, pretty small scale. And I think anyone out there that has this opportunity, if you're going to start a firewood business, this is the first step, is building a roadside stand. So I'm going to teach you today how to build a roadside stand. There's lots of other videos out there. This is not 100% my idea. People have done similar things many times. Mine is going to be slightly different, and I will show you exactly what we're going to do. Now, this stuff does cost money, so if you don't have it laying around, it will cost a little bit of money, but I would say this whole project that we're doing right now would cost less than $50. In my case, other than screws and like a 1 2x4 and a couple of things, I didn't buy any of this stuff. It's just stuff that I had laying around. So with that being said, let's get into the video. First thing that we have here, and these were completely free, and I'm going to be doing 3 pallets. I'll show you exactly how I'm going to do it here in a minute, but what I'm going to do, these are like 42 by 46 inch pallets. So they're not, I don't think really there's very many pallets that you'll find for free that are actual 4 foot by 4 foot pallets. So these are the ones that we're dealing with, and what you're about to watch me build, you can scale this up or do it slightly differently. This is just how I chose to do it with what I had, and I can always add to this or make it bigger if needed. But just to get a start, I have the firewood split and drying. This is basically the next step to selling it, and the video that will follow this video will be signage, how we're going to use signage to draw people in to get them to buy our firewood, because if we don't put a sign up, nobody's gonna know exactly what to do, where to go, how much is this, how much is that. So we'll work on that in the following video, but for now we need a roadside stand. There's no sense in putting up signs before you have firewood in a stand. All right, so the first thing that I just did, this pallet is 46 this way. This one's actually 42 this way. The other ones are 46 by 42 and 42 both ways. Now you can see here we have our cross members here and here. There's 4 of them. I marked this 21 inches dead center on this side, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this pallet perfectly in half, leaving your support beams intact. All right, that's one side cut. We're going to flip it over and repeat the process. There you can see we have 2 halves of our pallet. Now this one I'm going to be using as the base. This is a little bit older pallet, and it has a very solid on this side base. So this is the part I'm going to use for the base of the pallet, and it will be closest to the ground. And then I'll show you with these other ones, they're going to be my vertical dividers and support. If you look on the ground right here, I have 6. These are just old landscaping blocks that I actually tore out of this house. I just didn't like them. They were making a fire pit, and we just didn't use them anymore. So I stacked them up, and most of them are not cracked like this, but these ones are cracked in half, so they're really not going to be any good if I was to reuse them for something else. So these are going to be basically our blocks that go underneath the pallet to keep the pallet off of the ground, because right here you're looking, I mean, it's just dirt. You can see I've laid wood chips in here just to keep weeds down and give myself a little path around the barn here. But we're going to use these to level out those pallets. And I'm not going to get super scientific with this. I just want the pallets to be off the ground and mostly level. our base. This is 7 feet. 7 feet. It's like 83 3/4 of an inch. So we'll call it 7 feet. 7 feet's 84 inches. You can see it's mostly level. I mean, I didn't get super in depth with it, like I said, but it's plenty strong to hold some firewood. All right, next step, we're going to go. These are going to be our divider, or sidewall pallets. They are 42 inches this way, and this one's 42 inches that way. I swear the one I measured was 42 by 46, but it doesn't really matter. But we want to cut these at that 21-inch length in between your dividers, just like we did for the base. All right, here you can see I have all of those cut directly in half, and they're still solid and sturdy. So now we're going to use these to build our walls. You can see, and most pallets are going to be very similar, but some may be slightly different depending on what kind you get. But these supports, wind's blowing a little bit, these supports line up with each other. So what I'm going to do is just attach these. I'm going to toenail into this support and into this support, and this is on the end, and so that will support on the end. I'm gonna put 4 in. There will be more supports up top, so this is just to hold these at the bottom. These are like a 3-inch Phillips head, just a standard drywall screw. You can see that we have our ends, and those are going to be basically our sidewalls for the firewood. Now, how you divide this up in the middle is completely up to you. I'm going to put 2 supports in here, so I have 3 racks. I will have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do 2 racks of $15 or $20, depending on how many cubic feet this turns out to be. So it'll be $15 or $20 for X amount of pieces, just fills that area. And then I'm going to have 1 that I'm going to do $5 or $4 bundles in. So I'm going to divide this out evenly, so it'll be a third, a third, a third. But you can divide this up however you like, depending on the size that you want to sell, or just what works best for you. I have all 4 of them installed. You can see here they're not completely, this one's pretty sturdy, but they're not completely sturdy. So when you stack wood in here, it's going to want to push and pull on these. So we will be adding some support to the top. In between here, from the pallet, not the ground, we have 42 and I don't know, a 1/2 inch, and then you can see 23 and a half, and these aren't perfectly level at this point. So what you're going to be able to do with a 16-inch piece of wood, and we know that this is 21 inches deep, a 16-inch normal cut piece of firewood is going to fit in here real nice. And we're going to have 2 feet by a little bit less than 4 feet, 16 inches. So I'll have to do the math and figure out how many, basically how much these little stalls would be worth if they were stacked flush to the top. So this will be a stack flush to the top. That'll be like 15 or 20 bucks, whatever. Same here. This will be 15 or $20, and then here will be bundles, or we can sell it by the piece. You could do like 10 pieces for $5 or whatever. But I will be making bundles. I have a really good idea to make a homemade bundler that I will be making soon. But like I said, we're taking this one step at a time. First step is the firewood. You need the source, you need the splitter, you need dry wood. And if you're going to sell it in this way, the next step is going to be building something similar to this, some sort of stand. And then we're going to worry about signage and getting inventory out here so that people can pay for it and buy it. So that being said, there's a couple more steps here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put like a makeshift roof on top of this, just so that it's covered. And I'm going to do it a little bit different than most of the stuff you would see other people do, but I'm worried about putting metal over the top because people will cut or hit their heads on it. So I have a little bit of a different idea as far as covering this goes. The next step, and you can do this multiple ways. I'm using pieces of scrap rubber roofing. I'm a contractor by trade, so this is readily available and something that I have access to. A lot of other people may not, but you can use old pool liners, you can use tarps, you could use lots of things. But when I was thinking about how I was going to build this top on here, I wanted something that is not going to cut or injure somebody. I need something that's going to hold up to the weather and rain, wind, snow, etc. And I also, obviously, we want it to be waterproof. So, like today, for example, it rained, you know, a half of an inch in like an hour. And if your firewood's sitting out here, it's a Sunday, but say it was a Saturday and it rained a whole lot, and somebody's coming here to have a campfire at their house in the summer on a Saturday night, and it just rained a whole bunch on your wood right before they come and get it, they're not going to have a good experience because that wood, maybe not all of it, but some of it is going to be wet, and it's going to just make it harder for the customers, and the customers are going to remember that. So I have a scrap piece of rubber roof here. It's 0.040 thickness, and this is going to basically serve the purpose. Now we have our two vertical supports here. There's one right here and there's one back about 12 inches from this. I'm just going to nail the back one because I want people to have the option of flipping this up when they're pulling the firewood out, which I'll show you here in a little bit. But this fits all the criteria for what I need. It's going to do the job. It's going to hold up to the, you know, the test of time. And again, it was cheap. It was something that I had laying around and did not cost me any money. Normal roofing nails, and I'm going to just nail this in the back. I'm just going to make sure it's tight. I do have a little bit of excess that I am putting back behind, so it has a little bit of I don't know, 6 or 8 inches of excess back there. And then we're just going to find this support, and I'm just going to put one nail in it. We don't want to hit that nail in too far that it causes a rip. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm only putting 4 nails in this entire thing. And last but not least, we will put one over here. I'm just going to cut this off. It's really not necessary, but I don't need it. Oh, that nail fell right out. I missed it. Try that again. Oh, it split on me. That's a little loose because this one is a little crooked, so when I put the top support on, I will pull this out like this, and it'll be good. But you can see here, you're able to flip this entire thing up, and it's out of the way of the customer. Now the wind could potentially do that too, but to alleviate that, you could always just put some, you could put more nails in it. I'm not going to do that yet, but it may be something that I have to do in the future. The next thing I'm going to do is on this same line, I'm going to put a vertical support, and that's just going to hold these from wobbling and moving and stuff like that. Here I just cut a standard 2x4, normally only a couple of dollars, but at the time of filming, like $12. This is really the only thing out of here other than the screws that I personally bought. Like I said, the pallets were free. A lot of this was just leftover stuff I had laying around. And you can modify this and use your own materials based on what you have laying around. This doesn't necessarily have to be a 2x4. It could be virtually almost anything. So this is going to go basically where we just put those nails into that support. We're going to make sure that these are level, and then we're going to screw this board into those supports on the pallet. started on that end. Now I'm going to get this, I know the length of it is 84 inches, but the way that these pallets are leaning just a little bit, I'm going to do that end and then this end, and then I'll figure out the middle. Well, there it is. That's how you build a, do-it-yourself firewood sales rack, I guess I would call it. I don't know how many people will be buying from it yet. I just know that I got to get some wood in there and get some signs up, and I think it will sell some firewood for sure. Right next to me here is a produce stand that we do self-serve produce in the summer from our garden, and people stop for that. So I think that this will complement the produce stand and vice versa. And there's a lot of people driving by, so I don't see why people would not stop that need firewood. There's a lot of cabins and cottages and summer lake homes around here, and those are the kind of customers that we want to try to attract. So there is other competition in the direct area. I'm hoping to do, give them a better firewood that's drier, and maybe give them just a little bit more for a little bit lesser of a price. Like I said, this is not a business, more or less for me. It's just a side hustle, and we'll be getting into some of the other details as far as the signage and sales and stuff like that in future videos. So if you guys can hit a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. Otherwise, that's the end of this video. Leave a comment if you have any questions or if you have any advice. I guess we will see you on the next one.